Alright, this is OBX Hatman here. I was going to show you exactly what I did to finish up this rudder lift system for the Wilderness Systems Radar 13.5. Okay, what they had before was they have these pad eyes they give you, that you can see behind this. Okay, those pad eyes are where your old lines go to, the black lines, and I had them running right up along here, and then they come back to this back pad eye, and then the two lines shoot straight over this edge out to the rudder, and they come in at like a 45-degree angle. Alright, now I didn't like that. I'll tell you why. Because as you use that thing all day long, this piece right here will actually twist to the right because of your force that you're pulling on this thing to get it to lift and to lower and raise. So this thing actually twists to the right, and your screws end up loosening up over time, and you got to constantly retighten them. So what I did is I got some of the Harken HT pulleys, and I used some standoffs. I can't remember how big the standoffs were, but there's some water that's collected in the back there. But I think they were like 1/4 inch, I think, or maybe 1/2 inch standoffs, to put the pulleys right above the back side of the kayak. Okay, and then you can see I wrap these lines a certain way above or below to lessen the resistance as much as possible. As you see, that one there is wrapped above and around, feeding out to the rudder, and this one here is wrapped also above and around. Now when you go back to this other pulley, I had to make this bracket. I made this bracket out of aluminum flat bar, and then I use a backing plate here, and I use 2 backing plates back here as well. Now the thing is, with the backing plates, it's very difficult to get the backing plates on because there's no rear access to this kayak. So I had to put the kayak up at like a 45-degree angle off the end of my trailer, and had to drill these holes out for these backing plates, drop the line down, and of course you got your lines feeding up to the front. Back here you got these lines here feeding to the front for your rudder steering, and also for the foot steering if you don't have pedal drive or motor drive. So you got to be careful when you run these lines down for the backing plate that you don't get the lines. Like I had to run 2 lines in these holes, and the first time I tried it, when I pulled the backing plate up to the back side, it actually had one of these lines pinched. So I had to drop it back down, and then I had to take a wire, drill the hole a little bit bigger. I had to drill it like, I want to say 3/8 of an inch hole in, I think it was this one here. And then I had to take that wire and bend it so that it would go sharp over top of this line and then down. So then once I did that, then I ran my line down all the way to the end, attached my backing plate, pulled it back up, and I just had to kind of monkey with it a little bit to get it to go up and over that and then fall in place. And then I could attach this screw here first, then cut one of these lines and attach that screw, and I used silicone behind all the screws and also stainless steel. And I had to buy longer screws that fit the same thread pattern as the nuts on the backing plates that Yak Attack makes. Yak Attack actually gave me the plates for free. I contacted them through customer service and told them I was working on something, customized for my kayak, and I asked if I could get 3 of them for free. At the time I didn't know they sold them on their website for like $6 or $6.50 a piece, but anyhow they sent me 3 of them, and so this is how I utilized them. There's one on this one on this one, and then of course one for this pulley set up here. And this is just 2 Harken pulleys sandwiched side by side in between the aluminum flat bar that I bent over at a certain angle so that it could kind of match going towards those other pulleys. So what you end up with is, and they're wrapped under, not on top, so they're wrapped under, 1-time pass around, and they feed straight back to these pulleys at a 45-degree angle. But the thing is when they leave these pulleys, they're going straight into the rudder. So therefore when I lift it and lower it, it's not pulling the mounting system for the rudder to one side. Plus there's less resistance because it's just coming straight back and forward. Then I ran the lines down. I have this pulley system for the trolley system for the anchor, and I have these 2 standoffs with a hark and pulley for the trolley system. Well, I ran the lower line below those, and then I ran the upper line separate from them. So that runs on back. It goes through this first pad eye. This is the first pad eye I actually used that comes with the Rudder kit. And then it goes through the trolley system on the top one and just underneath on the other one. And likewise down to this one, and then back through a pad eye. And then it comes back to the lift system, which is a bungee strap attached to two different, these things here where you tie off at. And when I raise and lower this, you know, it doesn't take a lot of force. As you can see, I'm just putting like about probably about 10 pounds of force to raise and lower it. That's about it. Up and down, just like this. Raise and lower. So when I'm on the kayak, it doesn't take the strength of God to get the rudder system to lift up and go down. And it works very well so far from me messing with it after I put it on. I actually haven't been in the water. I assume once it gets wet, a little bit of lubrication, it'll probably work even better. So that's basically the modification I did to the Radar 13.5. And what I purchased to get this modification done was basically 4 Harken pulleys, HD pulleys. They have the bearings in them. And then I purchased a piece of flat bar from Taylor, bent that and orientated it correctly, put the backing plate on the back side. Here's the anchor point for the first screw of the backing plate, and then there's 2 more here. I attached my lift or my rudder lockdown cable. I attached that to this because I just like it better than having it on the handle, because the handle comes separated. If you don't, you know, it'll get separated, the top part. And then I just bent this over at a 45, and if you want to see, kind of like a 45, show you the angle of that. You kind of see how it runs there. And I probably could bend that a little bit better to make the pulleys go more in line with the other pulleys, but they already go pretty good the way they are. And then it goes back to these, all silicone. And for whatever reason, Wilderness Systems decide to, instead of giving you a flat area back here, they decide to make this the point where you put your power pole. Maybe for bass fishing in shallow areas or something, it might be okay, but I could just see a power pole being one big pain in the ass. Especially having a point at the furthest point behind your kayak where there's a single pole sticking in the ground. Waves from other boats coming past would rock you like crazy, unless they got some kind of spring design where it like rides up and down in the, you know, rides up and down in the cradle that it, you know, operates in. I could see that being a very huge tipping point, and I would never get a power pole for a kayak. Never. So I don't know why they put it in these. I guess they figure people just got more money than sense, but don't do it. Waste of time, waste of money. Better off using a trolley line. But anyhow, I had to do what I had to do with, and I got these 2 pulleys mounted in place, and everything seems to operate a lot more smoothly. And I get to test it on the water tomorrow. Hopefully everything will go okay. The only thing that I'm worried about a little bit is the lines themselves, whether or not they dry rot over time, because it's just some cheap shit that I bought at Taylor. I might have to upgrade them to a more UV resistant line at some point, but it'll be easy to upgrade and it'll work just as good, if not better, with better line. This line here is a little bit on the rough side, but it'll serve its purpose tomorrow, and we'll see what it does. This is OBX Hatman, hoping y'all catch some fish. Y'all have a good one. Peace out.